The woods around Elmshollow are ancient, a sprawling tapestry of shadow and secrets woven over centuries. They stand as silent sentinels, guarding the town's history and, perhaps, its doom. Their twisted branches, like skeletal arms reaching for the sky, hold secrets older than the town itself. Each knot and groove in the bark tells a story, a silent testament to forgotten events and whispered promises. The canopy above forms a dense, impenetrable ceiling, filtering the sunlight into ethereal beams that dance upon the forest floor. People whisper that the trees speak, a rustling language carried on the wind, understood only by those who dare to listen. Some say they murmur warnings, others claim they share forgotten lore. Sharing stories no living soul should hear, tales of ancient rituals, pacts made in darkness, and the restless spirits that wander the woods, forever bound to the gnarled roots and shadowed paths. These are not stories for the faint of heart, for they carry a weight that can crush the soul. Paths twist and turn, leading deeper into the wood's embrace. Sunlight barely breaks through the dense foliage, creating an atmosphere of perpetual twilight. It's easy to lose your way, to become disoriented and wander aimlessly, a victim of the forest's labyrinthine design. And the air is thick with the scent of decay, a constant reminder of the cycle of life and death that permeates the woods. The earth beneath your feet is soft and yielding, a carpet of fallen leaves and decaying matter, teeming with unseen life. At the heart lies Garth Hollow, a sunken valley, a depression in the earth, where the shadows gather and the mist clings like a shroud. It is a place of unnatural stillness, where the air hangs heavy and the silence is broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant hoot of an owl, where silence feels alive and things, even people, are said to vanish without a trace, swallowed by the earth or spirited away by unseen forces. The hollow holds a dark allure, a promise of mystery and danger that draws the curious and the desperate alike. The ruined chapel atop the hill overlooking the hollow stands as a grim sentinel, a testament to a forgotten faith and a reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface. Is the source of the darkest legends whispered in hushed tones around crackling fires, tales of unholy rituals, demonic pacts, and the restless spirits of those who met their end within its crumbling walls. Its bell tower, crooked and rusted, leans precariously against the sky, a skeletal finger pointing towards the heavens. It's a haunting reminder of the chapel's former glory, now tarnished by time and tainted by darkness. Is said to toll on moonless nights, though the rope is long gone, severed by some unknown hand or rotted away by the relentless passage of time. Yet the bell still rings, its mournful peal echoing through the hollow, a chilling reminder of the darkness that dwells within. When the bell rings, it's not a call to prayer, it's a summons, a beckoning from the depths of the hollow, an invitation to a fate worse than death. The townsfolk say the hollow claims what is lost, those who wander in searching for something they can never find, hope, memory, and sometimes lives. It feeds on despair, preying on the vulnerable and the lost, luring them into its embrace with promises of solace and escape. The chapel stands as a monument to sorrow, slowly reclaimed by the woods, its stones crumbling, its walls covered in ivy, a testament to the relentless power of nature and the futility of human endeavours. And when the bell tolls, it's a promise of darkness, despair and oblivion. The hollow is ready to claim another soul, to add another name to its list of victims, to further solidify its reputation as a place of fear and dread. Bram, Corwin and Elias grew up on the edge of Elmshollow, daring each other to face the legends of Garth Hollow. Bram, ever the leader, proposed the ultimate test: spend a night in the abandoned chapel. Corwin hesitated, haunted by tales of a sorrowful spirit, but peer pressure won out. Elias, the skeptic, agreed, drawn by curiosity more than bravado. The pact was made under a flickering street lamp, their breath ghosting in the cold air. 3 friends, bound by a foolish promise, would enter the whispering woods. Unaware, the hollow was already waiting for them. As dusk faded, painting the sky in hues of purple and deep orange, a sense of foreboding settled over the ancient woods. The last rays of sunlight struggled to penetrate the dense canopy, casting long, distorted shadows that danced like spectres on the forest floor. The air grew still, holding its breath as the day surrendered to the encroaching night. The woods swallowed the boys in silence, each step taking them further from the familiar world and deeper into the unknown. The trees loomed like silent sentinels, their branches gnarled and twisted, reaching out like skeletal arms. The path ahead seemed to narrow with every stride, as if the forest itself was trying to deter them from their quest. Every step deeper felt like trespass, an intrusion upon a sacred and forbidden space. The rustling of leaves underfoot echoed unnaturally loud in the stillness, each sound amplified by the growing tension. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, a primal aroma that spoke of ancient secrets and forgotten things. The air grew colder, biting at their exposed skin, and the path became nearly invisible, obscured by a creeping mist that swirled around their ankles like ghostly tendrils. The fog seemed to whisper secrets, its ethereal presence adding to the growing sense of unease. Visibility dwindled, and the world beyond their immediate surroundings dissolved into a hazy, indistinct blur. Bram's jokes fell flat, his usual bravado replaced by a nervous tremor in his voice. The darkness seemed to amplify their fears, turning childish dares into genuine anxieties. Corwin's flashlight shook, its beam dancing erratically as his hand trembled with a mixture of fear and anticipation. The flickering light cast grotesque shadows that writhed and contorted, playing tricks on their eyes and fueling their imaginations. And Elias felt dread settle in, a heavy weight in the pit of his stomach, a premonition of something terrible to come. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that unseen eyes were following their every move. At last, through the swirling mist and the dense trees, the chapel appeared, a beacon of darkness in the heart of the woods. A jagged silhouette against the inky sky, more tomb than sanctuary, a monument to forgotten faith and lingering despair. It stood on the crest of the hill like a skeletal hand reaching towards the heavens. Its stone walls crumbled, weathered by centuries of neglect and abuse, the mortar eroded and crumbling like ancient bones, windows gaping like empty sockets, staring out into the night with a vacant, soulless gaze. The bell tower leaning in agony, its spire crooked and broken, a silent testament to the ravages of time and the indifference of the world. It seemed to groan under the weight of its own history, a mournful sound carried on the wind. Thorns clawed at them as they climbed the hill, tearing at their clothes and scratching their skin, as if the very earth was trying to prevent them from reaching their destination. The brambles seemed to have a life of their own, reaching out with malicious intent. At the door they paused, their bravado faltering in the face of the palpable darkness that emanated from within, sensing the threshold was more than just a doorway, but a gateway to something ancient and malevolent, a point of no return. The air around the entrance crackled with an unseen energy, a tangible sense of dread that made the hairs on the back of their necks stand on end. Bram pushed it open, the hinges screaming in protest, a long, drawn-out groan that echoed through the silent woods. Darkness swallowed their flashlights, the feeble beams unable to penetrate the oppressive gloom that filled the chapel's interior. The light seemed to be absorbed, consumed by the shadows that clung to every corner. They had arrived at the heart of the legend, the place where the veil between worlds was thin, where the past refused to stay buried. Crossing inside, they felt they might never return, that they were stepping into a place from which escape was impossible, forever bound to the chapel's dark history. The air inside was heavy and stagnant, thick with the scent of decay and the lingering presence of something ancient and evil. They set up camp in the chapel's main hall, flashlights barely holding back the darkness. For a while nothing happened, just silence, thick and unnatural. Corwin jumped at every sound. Bram's bravado faded. Then, from above, a single, mournful bell tolled, impossibly clear. The sound vibrated through stone and bone, freezing them in place. The rope was gone, yet the bell had rung. Terror replaced doubt. The stories were real. The silence that followed was charged with menace. The hollow had announced their presence. The dare was over. Now it was survival. The chapel was no longer empty. The night had only just begun. Panic set in. Corwin begged to leave, but Bram, stubborn and angry, insisted on investigating the bell tower. Elias, torn between reason and loyalty, followed. Corwin, terrified, trailed behind. They found the spiral staircase slick, rotting and treacherous. Each step creaked, the air colder, the dark thicker. As they climbed, a rhythmic tapping began above. Deliberate, patient. The sound grew louder with every step. Bram's confidence faltered. Corwin wept, desperate to turn back. But they were trapped, caught between the haunted chapel below and the unknown horror above. The climb felt endless, the tapping relentless. The hollow was closing in. At the top, the tapping stopped. The bell loomed above, silent, untouched. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from the chapel below. Slow, heavy, impossible. All three were in the tower. No one should be below. Panic surged. Corwin screamed, trying to flee. In his terror he stepped on rotten wood. The staircase gave way. He fell, his scream cut short by a sickening silence. The footsteps stopped. The wind died. Bram and Elias stared into the darkness where Corwin had vanished. The hollow had claimed its first soul. Silence pressed in, absolute and final. The paralyzing grip of terror began to loosen, replaced by a primal surge of panic. It was a desperate, animalistic instinct to survive, to escape the suffocating darkness that had enveloped them. Bram, fueled by adrenaline, tried to escape upward, hoping to find some semblance of safety in the tower's heights. But Elias, his face etched with grim determination, pulled him back with surprising force. Down was the only way, the only path that offered even a sliver of hope. He knew something Bram didn't, some primal understanding of the evil they faced. The heavy footsteps resumed their relentless pursuit, echoing through the ancient stone, now ascending, growing louder with each passing moment, hunting them with an unnerving patience. It was no longer just a sound, but a tangible threat, a predator closing in on its prey. Sheer, unadulterated fear drove them down the treacherous stairs, their movements frantic and desperate. They leaped blindly over the gaping hole where Corwin had met his unfortunate end, the memory of his fall fueling their terror. Each jump was a gamble, a desperate prayer for survival. The entity was impossibly close, its presence a palpable weight, a cold breath ghosting at their backs. It was a sensation that transcended the physical, a chilling awareness of something ancient and malevolent drawing near. They burst from the tower's confines, their lungs burning, legs aching, sprinting through the skeletal remains of the abandoned chapel. Moonlight streamed through the shattered windows, casting long, distorted shadows that danced around them like mocking spectres. They plunged headlong into the dense, unforgiving woods, the darkness swallowing them whole. Behind them, the relentless pursuit continued, accompanied by a wet, dragging shuffle that sent shivers down their spines. The sounds of snapping twigs and rustling leaves amplified their fear, turning the forest into a terrifying labyrinth. Only Elias, battered and broken, managed to claw his way out of the hollow's grasp. He stumbled into town as the first rays of dawn painted the sky, his face a mask of horror, his eyes wide with a terror that would forever haunt him. He was a changed man, marked by the horrors he had witnessed. Bram, alas, was not so fortunate. He was lost, consumed by the hollow's insatiable shadows, another victim claimed by its ancient hunger. Elias, burdened by guilt and unspeakable memories, never spoke a word of that night, locking the horrors away in the deepest recesses of his mind. But the ancient bell, a silent witness to the hollow's dark deeds, still tolls its mournful song on moonless nights, a chilling reminder of the evil that lurks within. The hollow waits, patient and ever watchful, for the next unsuspecting soul to answer its siren call, luring them into its dark embrace. The forest stands silent, an ominous invitation to those who dare to venture too close. Thanks for watching. For more chilling tales, hit subscribe and check out our other videos right here.